Imagine with me that you're walking through the park and you see a man trying to teach his dog how to play fetch. He explains to the dog, I'm going to throw the ball and you're going to go get it and bring it back to me. That's what fetch is. So the man proceeds to act like he's going to throw the ball, but doesn't actually ever throw the ball. The dog goes to where he thinks the ball is going to be, and it's not there. He comes back to the man confused. The man gets angry that he didn't complete the task of fetching. The dog is confused and the man is angry, all because the dog didn't have the resources to complete the task of fetching. The man never threw the ball, so there was no ball for him to fetch. When we don't have the necessary resources, we can't perform tasks. We see this on a larger scale in all of our children and a lot of our children in America. They're punished for things that they don't have control over, and they don't have the resources to complete the tasks that we would like them to. One of those things are not being able to complete homework. Today I'm going to persuade you that homework should be eliminated in elementary schools. Joe Bowler, a math education researcher at Stanford University, wrote the book called Mathematical Mindset. She said that as the achievement gap grows, so does the homework gap. The homework gap shows that children from low-income families, one-parent families, and families of color are at a disadvantage when completing homework. She says, when we assign homework to students, we provide barriers to the students who need our support most. This fact alone makes homework indefensible to me. According to a study that the Federal Communication Committee did in 2015, 7 in 10 teachers assign homework and you need broadband high-speed internet to complete. That same study showed that 1 in 3 households don't have access to high-speed broadband internet. In the book, The End of Homework, How Homework Disrupts Families, Overburdens Children, and Limits Learning, which was written by Etta Kravolek. She's an associate professor of teacher education and program director of graduate teacher education at University of Arizona South. She claims that homework entrenches privilege, causing education disadvantages to low-income, immigrant, single-parent families and families of color. If kids don't have access to a primary English-speaking parent or technology that they need to complete their homework, they're not able to complete their homework. A lot of times in elementary school, when children don't complete homework, they're punished, such as taking away recesses for them to complete their homework, or missing out on other fun activities that the other children are doing so that they can't complete their homework. You may be thinking that this doesn't affect you or your children. Maybe you don't have these issues in your home, or your children don't face these challenges. But who's going to speak up for that first grader that's a high-energy first grader with a single mom? His mom works 2 jobs, and she goes to night school to learn English. She doesn't have the necessary English skills yet to help her son with his homework, and homework may not be a first priority for her. But it's not because her son is lazy or because she doesn't think that school is important. It's everybody's responsibility to help the kids that are falling through the cracks. And one of the ways to do this is to limit homework in elementary school. Educators and parents often think that homework is needed to practice the skills that kids are learning in school. If they're not practicing the skills, how are they going to retain the information? The truth is that many studies show the opposite. Denise Pope, the senior lecturer at Stanford University Graduate School of Education, did a study and it was published in the Journal of Experimental Education. It showed that there was no correlation between more homework and the amount of retaining that elementary students have. The things that do matter to retain information in elementary school and test scores is eating dinner as a family, reading to your children every night, getting a good night's sleep. Those things are the things that matter. Why do schools not focus on those things? Those things are more manageable for parents. Parents have to feed their kids anyways. Parents can easily read to a child for 15 minutes. Even in their native language shows that it helps with elementary children. Here are some examples that I've brought for homework. So this is a first grade, a math worksheet for first graders. So the first grader would have to have scissors and glue because they'd have to cut out these numbers and then put them in the right order. If you don't have the resources in your home to have glue and scissors, you're not going to be able to complete this homework. I'll pass these out so you can look. This is also a phonics worksheet for first grade. You read the passage and then answer the questions. This is for first grade, and a first grader would probably need help because all of these words a first grader may not be able to read yet. If you have a parent that English is not their first language, they may have a difficult time helping a child with this homework. The Program for International Student Assessment, also called PISA, is an international assessment group that measures 15-year-olds' math, reading, and science skills every 3 years, and it puts out a report to all the countries involved. In 2015, they not only looked at all the academic scores, but the reasons why some countries scored differently. The studies consistently showed that homework either negatively affected or did not affect achievement in students. Math scores compared from one country to another country showed no positive correlation between the amount of time that kids spent on homework to how they were doing on their tests. So you may be wondering, how do we fix the inequity of homework? Parents and teachers and administrators and community members need to advocate for children that are left behind and treated unfairly. School districts should mandate that teachers not give homework for elementary students and focus on quality class instruction. Students will still receive a valuable education without the pressure or fear of not doing what the teacher expects them to do. In my opinion, to go to school without being worried about things out of their control gives students more energy to focus on class and the quality instruction they're receiving, which in turn would lessen the need for homework anyways. Author and education researcher Alfie Kohn, who wrote the book The Homework Myth, Why Our Kids Get Too Much of a Bad Thing, says that homework routinely causes frustration, exhaustion, family conflict, a loss of time for other activities, and diminished excitement about learning. He goes on to say, in classrooms and school where little or no homework is assigned, the results have been extremely positive in terms of students' academic performance as well as their attitudes towards learning. They don't feel frustrated and worried that they're not able to complete the things that the teacher wants them to complete. I know that in America, we have a culture of more work equals more success. So just work hard and you'll get success. Just do better and you can get the success. But in the case of homework, the research doesn't support this. There's plenty of time in older grades for students to get study skills, which is another big worry of taking homework away. How are kids going to learn to be disciplined and get study skills? They have junior high and high school to learn those skills that they will need in college. In the book, The Case Against Homework by Nancy Kalish, How Homework is Hurting Our Children and What We Can Do About It, she did a huge research project and collected information from parents, educators, and kids across the country. And the biggest thing that all of them had in common was they said that kids in elementary grades just don't have time to be kids anymore. They don't have time to go home and play with their friends, which is just as important as the things that we're teaching them in school. They need to learn social skills and to be able to play with their friends and explore and learn from their surroundings just as much as the directed learning that we give them. She went on to say, since most teachers assign busy work for homework, it often feels like more of a chore than actual learning. Because of this overload of homework, kids can't make it to dinner with their families, and it causes more anxiety, pressure, and arguing with parents about homework. Is this really what we want our children to feel on a daily basis? So what can you do about it personally? You can attend school board meetings and ask what the homework policy is. If that's too intimidating for you, ask your child's teacher what the district policy is and their personal thoughts on homework is. Explain to them what the research says. They may not listen or change any of their policies, but at least you advocated for children and families that may not have a voice, and you started the much needed conversation. Thank you.